Welcome back to Meet the Owners. I'm your host, Joe, and today I'm here with Kirk, one of the owners of GR Freeman Heating and Air Conditioning. His brother Dan also is an owner of this company.
Correct.
And so let's get into this. Tell us a little bit about what you guys do and how your dad started, because you are a second generation owned company.
Right. So we focus on residential primarily.
Okay.
Service, installation, not so much construction, but we're much more the problem solvers. You know, we try and stay in our lane. The business was started back in 1977 by our father, Greg, and the notion of him starting was probably spawned from the fact that he started the curriculum for IB Tech statewide for their refrigeration and HVAC program. So he did that. He taught that for a few years, and then he couldn't avoid the itch to get out there and do it. So that's where it started, and as many things happen as you're a kid, you kind of grow up in it, whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So statewide, I feel like that's achievement on its own.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. And then, so growing up, you said you were doing it growing up. Did you like it doing growing it up? Were you like, hey, I want to do this the rest of my life? I want to take over one day?
No. I mean, was it interesting? Sure. A lot of times in crawl spaces and attics, the difficulty is that, you know, when you're a kid, when I say kid, I mean like, you know, teenager, you're doing things that sometimes just because it's coming from your parents, you don't want to do it.
Yeah.
I'm quite certain that my parents would agree that I had a little rebellious string in my personality. So it was battling that. But then, you know, I went away to college, to Western Kentucky University, got a degree in industrial technologies. Actually found out that all the jobs were primarily in Nevada. And I didn't want to go to Nevada.
Really?
Yeah. So I was like, well, I've been away from home long enough that I actually want to go back to home. So I moved back, and I was like, well, I'll work for the company while I figure out what I'm going to do. Here we are, many years later. But what I found out is that I really enjoy what I do. It allows me to problem solve and critically think, to work through problems. So we enjoy that.
That's awesome. And now, GR Freeman started 1977, right? Almost 50 years old company, which is exciting. Have to come back in 2 years and check in on you guys.
That's right.
So that's really cool. And then, what did the transition look like? Because that is a whole beast of its own, and then you and your brother are both own the place. So I'm sure there's some great stories there as well.
Right. There was talk for years that the transition needed to happen, and I think with any small business, the owner has a hard time letting go. That's a very real psychological battle that everyone has to deal with at a certain point. It was the catalyst was the fact that our parents told us they were going to be going overseas for a few weeks in the coming year, and we saw it as an opportunity to say, well, there's a lot of uncertainty outside of our borders. Let's go ahead and get things on paper. So if anything were to happen, our livelihoods are maintained.
Yeah.
So over the course of a year, we worked on this, what this transition would look like. And, you know, it was, in hindsight, it wasn't too terrible. You know, when you're in it, you're like, it's taking forever, but it's okay. Life is it's a marathon.
It is. It is a marathon. So how do you and Dan work? Do you guys do the same thing together, or you're like, you're the head of this, I'm the head of this,
In general,
and we?
yeah, in general, I typically handle the construction and change out, design work, fabrication. Dan handles the service department,
Okay.
so service department and sales. So he does the vast majority of our sales. We try and stay in our own lanes. Try to respect that. But we're also, we're a team, and when one side's having trouble, we gotta, get over there and help where we can.
That's got to be nice because as just a business owner by yourself, you're just rocking and rolling and trying to
Right.
go for it. So the fact that you can collaborate with somebody who can look at it from a different angle, who's
Right.
just as invested as you, but their brain's not looking at it, they're outside the box, and that's super helpful.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So as a business owner, what's your biggest challenge? Like you went from like doing the grind, now you're an owner. What's the biggest challenge of being an owner?
I think the biggest challenge of being an owner is that there's no time clock to punch out. You wake up thinking about all the things that need to be done, all the things beyond your task, beyond me worrying about my physical aspect of my job of running the department and being in those attics or crawl spaces or wherever doing the work. Beyond that, it's all the back of house things that it all still has to get done. You still have to worry about your marketing, your taxes, your payroll, all those things that just you can't afford to let just run away.
Yeah, there's a lot to it.
Yes.
There's a lot to it. Yeah. We talked to someone on the show, and she had mentioned something similar of like, it's just you're going and going and going. I'm like, it's true. It's true. So that's your biggest challenge.
Yeah. Well, I mean, because of that, it's the work life.
The balance.
Balance.
Yeah.
It's hard to have a large family and and be able to also operate a business. Because someone's always paying a price. Either the business is paying the price because I'm at home doing personal things, or the family is paying a price because I'm at work well beyond what has to be done. So it's always a balancing act.
Yeah. So tell us about your family. You have a really big family.
Yeah.
An awesome family.
Yeah. I'm married to Emily, a bona fide West Sider. I know it's important to a lot of people, but we have 8 children, spanning from 18 to 3. So
Nice. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Super cool. So, as a business owner, how much did your day-to-day change? Was it a slow transition to having to take on all those responsibilities, or were you kind of thrown into the fire?
no, it was a slow transition.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the benefit of being in a generational family business. For one, you're always observing, but 2, people know that you need to know something, and so they are patient with you when trying to convey that knowledge.
That's awesome. So, do you have any of your kids on the grind yet? You got them in here doing a little work?
Not as of yet. Our oldest 3 are all girls, followed by 5 boys. So
So you're just waiting. It's an investment.
I know there is an investment.
In like 10 years, your business is gonna like 3x.
Yeah, it very well could. I'm not going to push it. If they want to be here, I'd love to have them, but there's nothing worse than forcing a square peg in a round hole.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. What about Dan? Does he have any kids?
Yeah, he has 2 boys, and I actually one of his sons did a little bit of work with us last summer.
Okay.
So we'll see what this next year has.
Awesome. Well, it's coming up.
I know.
We'll find out
That's
soon.
right.
So what sets your brand apart from the other brands in town? Because would you say this is a pretty competitive market?
Oh yeah. Everyone knows somebody in our field. I mean, there are a ton of HVAC companies in Evansville. What sets us apart? I think integrity.
Yeah.
I mean, the amount of calls that we go on where someone may, a customer may buy a new house and they want, their system's not just operating right. We'll come in and it'll be new equipment, but it's surprising how many times the equipment was never set up. It's literally operating how it came from the factory. And 90% of the time, that's wrong for what you need for that house. So I don't know if it's lack of understanding other people have or a apathy to doing good work.
Yeah.
So
Well, I mean, we've talked plenty before, and you know your stuff. It's always fun. You'll present in our networking group, and you'll talk, and I'm like, oh, that's really cool. I learned something new. And there's people that do a job to do a job. There's people that do it because they love it and they're passionate about it. And then there's other people that are like, yeah, no, I also want to do it right because I have integrity, which is very important.
yeah. Well, and it helps due to my degree from school.
What was your degree? I don't know if we
Industrial
get-
technologies.
Okay.
It was an emphasis in architecture and construction management.
Nice.
So I've always loved building science, and I really stay up on the trends of building science. And I know it's interesting enough that I'll have contractors reach out to me and say, well, if I'm going to change this, how will that affect the house? And it's out of my purview, but when you love it, you understand the ins and outs. When do you have to add in more ventilation? When does it make good sense on insulating a new home compared to focusing those same dollars on higher efficiency equipment? So there's a lot of different ways to look at it.
Yeah, what comes first, the chicken or the egg?
That's right.
Interesting. Okay, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I heard someone say before, you probably have heard this, you have to be interested, committed, and obsessed to be successful. Would you say you're on that train? I feel like I'm getting those vibes.
Yeah, I think I'm on that train, and it's over the course of coming up on 30 years now. I mean, there's an ebb and flow as to where you are at that point.
Oh yeah, there's days
but
you wake up more tired than the other. Yeah.
Yeah, I love the technology though. I mean, we are on an exciting new technological spin or modification to our equipment now. The government has changed the refrigerant requirements. So now we're dealing with different refrigerant gases, and there's flammability concerns, but there's heat pump innovations that have happened. I can geek out on that for a very long time, and everyone will turn this off.
Yeah, well, we won't do that.
I don't want to
stick around, subscribe,
yeah,
like, comment.
right.
Yeah, but do it. Subscribe. Well, yeah. Anyways, though, I think we're kind of wrapping up actually.
Yeah.
So, favorite movie? We ask it every episode. It's our fun question.
I grew up with movies as my passion, all the way until like children took over.
Okay.
And now it takes like 5 nights to watch a movie
Ooh.
because I get like 20 to 30 minutes before I fall asleep.
Mm-hmm.
I would say favorite movie of modern, we'll say the 2000s, is
Okay.
going to be Dan in Real Life.
I haven't watched it. I've never heard of that even. I have to
I-
look it up.
I just died a little inside.
I mean, dude, I tell you what, half the movies people say I haven't seen, and they're like, "You're the movie guy." I'm like, bro, there's so many movies.
Right,
I got to catch
right.
up. I run a business.
It's a very endearing movie with Steve Carell.
Oh, really?
Yes. About a widowed man, and he's raising girls, and it's over the course of a weekend, meeting with the rest of his family, and everything that can awkwardly go wrong does. And it's very endearing. But other than that, I think I noticed on some of your other videos here that there's a lot of Tom Hanks lovers.
There's a lot of Tom Hanks.
I know,
lovers.
I know. And oddly enough, in the 80s, one of my favorite movies, absolutely, was a Tom Hanks movie. And that was The Money Pit.
I've seen The Money Pit. I've
Yeah.
seen that one. Finally, I'm in with the club.
There you go. There you go. So that was fantastic. Then in the 90s, you had What About Bob?
I haven't
You
heard
know.
of What About Bob. What was your favorite childhood movie growing up?
I think childhood, I probably would have to go with the very original Star Wars or
Okay.
Goonies.
Classics.
Yeah.
We talked about Goonies on episode 5 with Carrie Yates because it was in theater.
Right.
Which, I mean, I was so bummed that I missed that. But I'm hoping to catch. They're on like a Harry Potter train right now at AMC because like they're remaking it. Hoping we get some more classic 80 movies back in that I can go live it
Absolutely.
up.
Yeah.
But yeah,
The
those are all
80s.
good picks.
They were all good times.
So, all right, this is it. Final question. If you could have everyone that watches the video go support one local business in town that's not yourself, who would it be?
For one, I don't have a lot of time to go to a lot of places, but I know my wife adores going to Mission Grounds.
Mission Grounds Coffee.
Yeah.
Very good. They
Yes.
had a Lucky Charms chocolate coffee, and that thing was phenomenal. But it was like my second cup of coffee. It was so sweet. I was like shaking later that day. I was like, that was so good, but I can never drink it again.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're obviously they're
good.
great. They're tied to the Evansville Rescue Mission.
Mm-hmm.
So a great outfit from Jump, and she was just commenting that she loves going there because just to be the fly on the wall, because she writes articles there because it's away from all the kids.
Wait. What does your wife do?
Oh, she's a she is a content creator for the East Side Evansville like Catholic magazine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So she has a lot of articles to write. And anyway, she said that she loves being there because there's so many like just great conversations you can hear around. It's like good people having good conversation. You know,
That's awesome.
how do you go wrong with that?
You can't go wrong with that.
Yeah.
That's super awesome. Well, Kirk, thanks for coming on the this show. And yeah, so if you want to watch another episode, click right here, and we'll have links to their website. So if you need anything, you can go get it from Kirk.
All right.
It'd be awesome. All right.
Thank
Have
you.
a wonderful day.
Yeah.